We as gamers know that EA can make some pretty good games, but we also know that they can make ridiculous statements and decisions. So what do our friends over at EA have planned for us these days? I'm Vanilla Soup, and you're watching Super Gaming. Cutting right into it, you may have already heard the statements in an interview by VP Patrick Soderlund about more EA games coming to the Switch. He starts off his statements by claiming in his words, "I'm a gigantic Nintendo fanboy," adding in that he brings his Switch everywhere he goes. But that is one man's opinion, so what does the rest of the company think about putting more games onto the Switch? Well, later in that same interview, he sort of answers the question saying, "We will appear on any platform where there are consumers and players. We believe that we want to be part of the Switch and help Nintendo grow that installed base. That's why you'll see FIFA, which by the way is really good this year. It's a full-fledged FIFA game for the first time, to be honest, on a portable device." That sounds really great. Like, wow, EA is getting it. They are going to support the Switch. They are going to up their support and add more games to the Switch. But did you catch that last part? He says, it's a full-fledged FIFA game. It's not though. It's lacking its journey mode, which is a huge appeal of this year's game. But I don't want this to come across as me hating on EA, because like I said at the beginning of this video, they make some great games. I just find it weird that he would say that. Maybe it's because it in fact won't be a direct port. It'll have an engine change that will better fit the Switch port the on-go play, which I for one am okay with if it ends up being a presentable product. So let's continue with the interview. He then states that EA is still a business and that the numbers become a factor, which is totally cool. I understand that. Video games, especially EA, have become a multi-billion-dollar industry, and a company has to make good business decisions. I mean, there's a reason why Nintendo lost a lot of support from third parties last generation. But let's get onto the main chunk of the interview and the part I want to talk about the most. Soderlund then comments in his interview, "So for us, it's about supporting the platform, building technology for the platform, testing it out with big things like FIFA and maybe a couple others. We'll see if they go well. I see no reason why we shouldn't have as much of our portfolio on that platform as possible. I hope we get there. That would be my personal ambition." And I really like that he says that's his personal ambition. It sounds like he's kind of rooting for it, which is really great. And this all is some really great news, but there's also some bad news. The great news is that it seems like the company as a whole want more games on the Switch. They see the market there and they want to dip their toes in and see if it'll be lucrative for them to put more games onto the Switch, because like I said earlier, they are a video game company. They have to think about money. But the bad news is they are testing it with FIFA. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't bought a sports game since I was a teenager whooping my brother in Madden for leisure time. It's not that I don't see the merit, it's that I would rather spend my hard-earned money on games that have a high replay value and don't get a reskin every year. That being said, I recognize I am a minority. FIFA is one of the biggest selling video game franchises out there, and this year is no exception, with last year's FIFA 17 being one of the largest selling video games last year, beating out Final Fantasy 15 and Pokemon Sun and Moon. But let me tell you why this whole thing bothers me. It's Star Wars. EA has a tight grip on the rights to produce Star Wars games, and I don't think it is fair to let the biggest sci-fi franchise ever created be conditionalized by a sports game. Something completely unrelated with a completely different fan base. Now, Battlefront 2 coming onto the Switch at this point is unrealistic. But what about the other at least 3 confirmed Star Wars games allegedly being developed by DICE, Respawn Entertainment, and Visceral Games? It would be a shame if those games can't make it onto the Switch, or the inevitable Switch revision with better graphics in 2 to 4 years. But to be level-headed about this, I have my PC, and I have my Xbox, so it really won't affect me too much. But what about those out there that just have the Switch? What if they really like Star Wars and want to see those games on the Switch? I guess those people like me just really like the idea of a Star Wars game on the go. And no, I'm not talking about the mobile games on your phone. Now you may say, well, Soderlund did say FIFA and a couple others, talking about other games. I will tell you why that doesn't ease me at all. It's probably because that's going to be more sports games. What I hope he means is other franchises. Games I'd like to see is maybe a port of the Mirror's Edge franchise, or perhaps a Need for Speed game, or perhaps even some Mass Effect ports. But the best one would be new games, not rehashes or ports of old games. While that would be nice if the games are good enough, but that's why I kind of wish Battlefront 2 did make its way onto the Switch somehow. Even if it doesn't look like it can handle it graphically, I wish there was a way, because that would certainly show if fans wanted to see more Star Wars on the Switch, which, by the way, we do. There is a glimmer of hope. On the EA official website for Star Wars, at the very end it says, no matter the genre you play or the platform you play on, we will have a Star Wars game for you. Join us and together we can rule the galaxy. That brings me a lot of hope, and I hope they make good on that promise. But that's it for me today, guys. I know I may have sounded a little upset at times against EA, but I am really passionate about Star Wars, and I just really want to get my thoughts and opinions out there. So what do you guys think? Will you pick up FIFA just for the chance to get more favorite EA games on the Switch? Let me know in the comments section down below. And until next time, my friends, I'll see you online. Vanilla Soup, out.